I'm going to go through this as quick as I can, but I'm going to take a look here. You know what that is? It's a song for the ego. And since it's there, I'd like for you to stand. We're going to start our session here with a song. And there's a reason for that, and that's to help you with your vibration, your focus, because a lot of times, people come from different places, and they come in with different emotions and mind, different thinking, and some of it might not be so good. But and the reason why we use the song is to help for protection, not just for me, but for you, because we all, things fly around. We have, they say there's 4 elements of creation, but there's 5. And one of them, they say earth, fire, water, and air. There's also ether. So there's 5 of them. And the ether, if you don't know what that is, that's the invisible light, or the energy that's coming from the heavens, from the sun. The solar flares are getting more intense. We're being bombarded with all this energy from the heavens. And that in itself is also a creative energy, creative power. So what it does, it affects your thinking. It gives you more power to your thought and your emotions. And sometimes if their emotions aren't, and your thinking isn't so good, you can hurt somebody or yourself. And so these songs that we have help to align us, to be in the right mind, your spirit heart, to prepare yourself, your spirit body, your spirit soul, your God set. So if you want to stand, I'll sing this song for you. And the melody is kind of what you want to listen to, and if you have electronic devices, you're welcome to record it. Try to learn it, this, and I'm going to interpret this for you first. Mie toka hea, I was the first. Maka wakai yedo, means I was the first to fly over the earth. Wamrigleshkawa, the eagle, the spotted eagle, hea ya uedo, is saying this as he's coming. Recognize what he is doing. So that's what that song means. Mi toka heya makawangi do wa amrigreshkawa heya ya ue do wa yankai yo yo mi toka heya Makawangi do wa amrigreshkawa heya ya ue do wa yankai yo yo. Now, check. You can yodaka. You can sit. You notice this eagle song. It starts high and it goes down low. And what it does, it activates your chakras. That's what it's for. And a lot of the songs that you listen to in the drum over here, that's what they're for, to help activate some of those chakras and the energy and align you for what it is that you need to hear or witness, to see with your own eyes. So with that said, I'll flip this over, and I'm going to talk to you about kind of pulling this all together, just to kind of lay a little bit of a foundation here about what the ceremony of remembrance is about. And it's to help us to remember what we came here to Mother Earth, this planet, to do. We came from out there. We came down here, and as these light energy, these what we call even angels, is a good word. We were that. And all the energy, all the power, all the gifts that you had, you got to fly around the planet and look around to see where Mother Earth needed help. You got to see where the gifts that you had, where you could plant them, where you could do your work. If it was on this side of the planet, this side, you got to choose. You had that choice. Creator, you heard all of the teachings about the free will, freedom of man, all the things you've been hearing over there. And this is all about putting it all together for yourself. And we have 7 sacred ceremonies that are real important for you to remember. We have in one of them, I'm gonna draw them out up here as best I can and explain them to you. But it's real important at this point in time in the history of this planet that we remember them and do them. You hear that everybody over there in the main room, they're saying, you're learning all this stuff, and once you leave here, you go out there, then it's time to go to work. It's time to put it to use. Because it won't do anybody any good if you have all the answers to all the world, but you don't tell anybody. It does no good. You have to share it so that somebody can do the work. It's got to be done. And the work has to start inside of you first before you go outside of yourself. Align yourself, attune yourself, get yourself prepared, and get geared up, pumped up, energized. They use a lot of terms over there, a lot of description, a lot of adjectives, talk about all that. So, and however you want to describe what you feel and how you do it, if you get adrenaline rushes, if you get goosebumps, that's good, because that's how your body reacts to energy. Once it starts flowing, it starts to rise. You can start feeling it up your spine, hair stands up on your arms and your neck and all this stuff. That's good. Things are moving in you. Recognize that. It's a good thing. Those are the things that we, and they're simple. They're very simple. Everybody feels them. Not everybody understands it, And when you feel that, pray. That's when you make a prayer. That's when you make a difference. When energy is high inside of you. If you start feeling things like even deja vu, nobody said that word over there yet, but all of you experience that, right? You know what that is? That's where your body catches up to your soul, and you start following your soul as far as it can go, because you're in a place where you're supposed to be. You catch up to it. So you fall, hey, I've been here, I did this, It's because your soul has been walking before you, and you've been kind of lagging behind. You finally caught up. Like, hey, this is cool. I was over here. I was doing this, and it feels so good, But then it only lasts for a little while. All of a sudden, you take your left, and that soul goes to the right. It goes straight. You kind of wander off that path like that. That's what happens. And we're like, oh, damn, that ends right there. So at that time, look around. Deja vu, look around, because at that time, that's when you're supposed to witness something, experience something that's to help you grow, or to help you do some work. You'll see somebody, you'll hear something, somebody needs help. Somebody needs words of support. Somebody needs a hug. Somebody needs prayer. So feel it out. Look around. Even if it's nature. Hey, there's something going on here. Look around at the earth. Look at the plants. Even the animals, the birds, as they'll start getting their chatter. The birds will tell you too. Pay attention to everything. Quiet yourself and look around, see what it is. And if you have to, like yesterday, I had everybody do a full circle, turn like this. Get used to doing that, because when you do that, you scan the whole area at the same time. It's okay. Okay, over here, because you can feel it. And naturally, you can feel it. my brothers and I, we used to dance at the powwow. And when you dance around that arena, there are some areas in that circle where you don't feel like dancing. The energy is just, it drains you. And there's other areas you really want to, like tear it up, you're going. And so we come back to the staff, we'd line up, it's okay. How'd you feel? I didn't feel like dancing over there. How about you? Me either. I didn't feel like it's okay. That's where we're going to go dance our hardest, because somebody needs help in that area. We need help. So we go over there, and all of a sudden, we kind of energize that area, and we start looking around. We see people with wheelchairs start pulling in. A lot of handicapped people. They'll fill that circle in that area, and it's okay. Let's go around again. We'll go over there. We'll dance hard again, our finest moves, and soon those people in those wheelchairs are getting up, they're standing up there, and they don't need help. They'll stand. So what you have inside of you by the simplest moves, the simplest intentions, what you think is simple is powerful. It's very powerful. Know that what you have is such beauty, such high energy, and you'll feel the goosebumps and things, And once you feel that, you're doing the right thing. As simple as that. Know your body. We're talking about your heart, talking about your mindset, your focus. And your heart, if you think of it like shooting an arrow, if you were to send a prayer to anywhere on the planet, to anybody on the other side of the world, anywhere, all you got to do is think it, which is where you would aim an arrow. And the power in that bowstring is the heart. So how much power, how much love, how much energy you have in here is what makes it fly. Your thought, your prayer is gonna reach it. And thought is faster than light. You can make a difference in the world. Know that that's what you have. That's what you came here to learn and to do the work. It doesn't take much. You can sit. Everybody knows how to pray, and everybody knows how to meditate. Prayer is sending the words to all of the universe. Don't worry about how it's going to happen. It's not up to you to figure that out, because this universe will align itself however it needs to satisfy that prayer. Your job is to make the prayer. And if you want to know how it turned out, meditate. Calm yourself, and then the answers will come. So those two things are very helpful tools that we need to understand, how our body and our thoughts, our emotions and mind works. And I'm going to talk about some other things here once I start describing the ceremonies. And the value of it is that, like I said, Mother Earth needs our help. These ceremonies that I'm going to describe up here have been protected for centuries. Our people, a lot of relatives all over this whole Turtle Island, fought and died to protect these ceremonies. Not because of, our sows or anything like that. It was these altars, the earth altars, to protect them in such a time that they would be needed in the future, or we would bring them forth to help Mother Earth. So it wasn't all about us, it was about Mother Earth. And it still is about Mother Earth. We're just along for the ride. We're here to help her, to envelop her with this big blanket of love. And the aura of Mother Earth, or we call it atmosphere. When you get out there, it goes out so far. And this eagle song that I sung, that eagle song, the eagle spirit will come, take your prayers clear to the edge of where night meets day. The universal darkness, and the earth's aura, light, where they meet. The eagle will take those prayers that far, as high as they can go. And from there, all these little angels flying around, what they call the galactic guardians, They take it and they fly as fast as they can with that prayer. Across the universe or out to the edge of the galaxy, and from there, the universal guardians take them clear to the Father's heart. So when you look at this book called The Symbols, every chapter there's 3 parts. First part is the Earth Guardians, the ones that we work directly with right here on Mother Earth. Then there's the Galactic Guardians who work with our galaxy, all the planets and how the energies work here. And then beyond that is your universal, your ascended masters, those ones who work directly around the Creator. So if you have that book over there, understand that that's what it is. When I illustrated these teachings, I went out, we went to the Black Hills, and every day I would read 1 chapter. That's not a novel, I'll tell you that right now. You read 1 chapter a day, and then you process it. I've known a lot of groups that take that book, and they'll have the artwork, and they'll put it up in a room like this, and they talk about it, they'll pray on it, they'll work through it, and what each person's needs are, how things are working with them, where they need help with to tune themselves and align themselves with everybody, and everybody stays in a circle. It's not like this, they're all looking at me, everybody stays in a circle so that, you talk about the energy, it swirls like this, it moves in circles, which is why it's important, to do that. As simple as that is, a lot of people don't do that. You see, a lot of times Koala will walk into the room, before he comes in, he'll turn like this. Even when he leaves the room, he'll turn. And that keeps the swirling light, the energy moving, the spirit within that space. In Sundance, I'm going to talk about the Sundance because I am a Sundance chief, and I help to lead that ceremony to help those individuals fulfill their vows to Creator and to Mother Earth, all of creation. And those ceremonies are all 12 days long. Every single one of them, I'm going to show you 7 of them up here. The 7 sacred rites of the White Buffalo Calf woman, the pipe itself. That original covenant is still 100% intact. We have it in South Dakota. That original pipe is there. And my wife and I and others, who came last year for the ceremony up there on May 18th, the first time since in my lifetime, they brought it out at different times, but you couldn't touch it. It would be suspended in the air. And the only ones that actually did touch it, that could carry it out there, were children, young girls. Those who've never known a man could touch it and carry it in their purity, carry it out, and they would bring it to the people. And nobody could touch it but them. And for the first time last year, we were allowed to put our hands on it. And 7 times in my life, they brought it out for the people to pray with for all the world, because she needed that much help. It's comparable to the 10 Commandments. That holy stone, we have ours here on this side of the world. On that side, I don't know what happened to those tablets, that holy stone. But ours, we still have it, we still use it. That one's been hidden away someplace. And I heard they brought it over here. I don't know that. I haven't asked, but I've heard different things. And it's possible, but those holy covenants like that need to be activated and used. And all those scary teachings and stuff, you don't need to accept those, because that was past. Those are all in the past. We're moving into this new paradigm, this new way of living. It's called a shifting of the ages. And as far as the White Buffalo Calf pipe, the White Buffalo Calf woman, when she came and she spent 4 days with the people teaching them all of these 7 sacred rites that I'm going to draw out for you and mark them. If you have paper, or if you know, I'll leave them up here if you want to take a picture of them. You know, later I'll leave them up there for you. But after she got done teaching all of this, she walked away from the people as if she was singing a song. When she got out there, she laid down on the ground and she rolled. And when she stood up, she was a black buffalo. So she laid down again, she rolled again, and she stood up, she was a red buffalo. She did it again, rolled around, she was yellow buffalo. She did it again, rolled around, she stood up, she was a white buffalo calf. The white, he said, the reason why the calf is because that still hasn't happened. That part still hasn't occurred. And each time she rolled, those 4 times representing each one leg of the buffalo. The first leg, and this is how we know that the teachings of the pipe, the white buffalo calf pipe, go back so many thousands of years. They've said 15,000, 16,000. The first age was the age of the stone. So you know, way back when, before we even had fire, you know, that was the age of the stone. The second leg was the age of the fire. The third leg was the age of the bow, where we learned to make tools, hunting and things like that. And now we're in the age of the shifting of the ages, where we're moving into a new paradigm. All of that is behind us now. So we need to realize what responsibilities we have to move forward with all of this, to help Mother Earth take her place in creation. Because, you know, heard the science guys, everybody, you know, the Earth doesn't spin on a dime, it wobbles like this. It wobbles. It doesn't. And when they had the tsunami in Sri Lanka, you know, that it actually made the North Pole move by 14 meters, which is a pretty good movement. You know, the North Pole, it jumped pretty far. And there's so much that all the time clocks, universal time clocks on the planet, all went off. They had to readjust all of them. So we are, you know, moving into this new paradigm where things are shifting. Scientifically, they're proving all of that. You know, we're being bombarded with all these CMEs, you know, from the sun. They're getting more intense and more often. Coronal mass ejections, you know, this energy. The northern lights are moving further and further south, where they're actually getting to see them at the equator. We never did go that far. It takes a lot of energy, you know, in the atmosphere for that to happen. So our job is to pick up our sacred responsibilities and do the work. Okay, I'm going to write this down here. This first one, what we know, I'm going to write it in English so everybody knows what that one is. What this is, the ceremony of the Sweat Lodge, is about purification. Purification, you know, all the teachings with that. And if you have the symbols book, they'll talk to you about how to do that. You know, one of them is air. Will, if you stand out someplace on a hill, someplace in the open air, the wind will purify you. It'll blast you. It'll clean you up good. So will water. You know, if you stand in the water long enough, you know, your whole anatomical structure is going to change. And we have a story that relates to the drum, the big drum over there. There was a young lady by the name of Amanakwe that was given the gift of that big drum to bring to the people. And once again, a female. On this side of the planet is the female energy. On that side was the masculine. And so everything on this side, this is where Lady of Fatima, Guadalupe, we all had the appearances, all female on this side. And that side was Moses and Abraham and everybody, so you have the balance in nature, which is this little symbol right here. That symbol is in the book. Spiritual law of equality. And the two grandmas, Barbara Wolf and Margaret Anderson, they used these the first day. They got up in the room and how they combined them and stuff. But yeah, this little space in between, that's where the spirit moves between male and female to help them bond, to understand each other. So we do have that cushion between the masculine and feminine energy, the persuasion. But that one there, this is what we need to do to purify ourselves in order to awaken some of those things so that we can bring them out, all these gifts you have. Purification is 1. 2 is your, what we call crying for a vision. In our language, it's actually called hambrecha, hambrecha, to cry for vision. So much that you heal your own self. That's where we go up on the hill. We prepare ourselves for 4 days to get there. We actually address our mind. For the first day of sweat lodge, we actually use sweat lodge first to prepare ourselves to go up there. First day is for your mind, second day is for your heart, third day is for your soul, the fourth day is for your physical body. Because you're going to deal with some things up there that you never thought you could deal with. And whatever you experience up there is going to change your life forever. Because what you do is you stand before the powers that made you. And no human being on this planet can tell you why you're here except the powers that helped you get here. And this is where you find out about your spiritual memory. When you go up there, you'll see things, I tell you. It isn't until the third day, that night, the Spirit will come. And for those who I've heard say, hey, I realize what's going on, I said, no, you don't realize. You don't realize anything until the Spirit actually comes there and touches you. And then you really know what that word realization means. I tell you, if you think hair staying on your arm and neck and stuff is something, this is way beyond that because it goes clear to your soul. Boom, all of a sudden you have all the answers for the whole world. You know what's going on. You get downloaded with so much. You already know what everybody's doing. You know who needs help. You know who needs a prayer anywhere on the planet. And so you make all your prayers accordingly. And you think 4 days and 4 nights of prayer, you will never run out of a prayer. There's no way. If you thought of every human being on the planet, you prayed for every single one that you met in your lifetime, there's no way you can run out of a prayer. You pray for their soul, you pray for their mind, their thinking, their emotions, and their physical health. One by one, if you do that in your whole lifetime, since you can remember all the way till then and then beyond, and ones you didn't meet, you're going to find out how much you know that you know. And you can also know what you don't know. And say, I don't know how to do this, and you can list it. You can also list the things you know. You can list all the things. Well, I don't know how to change the engine in a car. I don't know how to build a rocket. You can list things. But there's also things that you don't know that you don't know. And you're going to learn some of that up there. I don't know. That's why a lot of times in your life you say, I didn't know that. You're always going to be learning. So don't limit yourself. Don't think everybody knows it, because none of us know everything. Everybody is just a part of the puzzle. we all can click and put the picture together for more of an area, a region, a tribe, nation, any part of the world. So that's what this is about. This is where we get our spiritual memory. And then when you come down from there, you're going to find out that when you go through 4 days of interpretation after that, 4 days to prepare to get there, 4 days while you're there, 4 days to interpret that whole experience after that. So it's 12 days. And then you'll say, after you get done, you're going to say, I knew that. Because you know what? It's in your DNA. All you did was get your spiritual memory back by going up there, and then you get aligned and your atoms start spinning so fast that you really don't want to even be inside the house, because the energy, the electricity that's in the walls here, all this, it will scatter. It'll make you scatterbrained. It'll mess you up again. But when you come down, you don't feel like watching TV, listen to radio or anything, because you're attuned, to the natural way of things. This here is it'll kind of messes you up a little bit. And the third one. See here, look at my little paper. This is a very powerful ceremony. Wu Wang Wa Chiwa is a Sundance. It's the greatest ceremony we have for health, for the whole planet and all of its inhabitants. That's what it's for. All of humanity. Very comparable to the sacrifice that Emmanuel did. Because we wear the sage crowns, we wear the sage bracelets, the sage anklets. We wear the feathers, the spikes in our hair, in our sage crowns. And then we expose ourselves, to all of nature, no matter what comes. One day we went through all 4 seasons. The hot, it got so hot, it burned everybody. Then the rains came, like spring. Then all of a sudden, so much hail, the whole ground, everything covered white, like wintertime. And then the winds came and kind of cleared everything out, like the fall. We went through all of that in one day. So it's a very powerful ceremony, and what you prayed for, you get. Then we have a third day. We also, in this one too, we also have the clowns, the sacred clowns that come on the third day. The doctor, they heal you, they doctor you. And laughter is one of those things they bring that helps you with the healing. So if you can laugh to cry, or cry to laugh, those are 2 great healing powers that we have that's within us. So do it as much as you can, especially as men. It's one of those things that we need to do more of. And it's there's a lot to this one, because that too is 12 days. 12 days long. 4 days prepare, 4 days to the ceremony, 4 days interpretation afterwards. Every one of those dancers out there, they talk about these codes. What they do is they look at the sun. And we're always told, don't be looking at the sun, it can hurt your eyes. But I've been doing it for 41 years. And I can still see good. No, I wear glasses, but I'm okay. It's never like burned my retinas out or anything, so. But when you look at the sun, after a while, you start seeing these symbols and shapes that, they're called codes. They come right at you. And I have the dancers that are out there. As soon as you get one, what they do is they drop to the ground and they'll draw it on the earth in front of them, and they'll get up and dance. And And what we do is we usually have somebody that after we get done with the round, they'll go sit in the shade and they'll go around and they'll say, okay, what did you see? And they'll have them draw it out. And those codes are what help us. You'll hear more about codes. You heard it yesterday and the day before about these codes. And those are very important to pay attention to. My wife and I traveled over to Europe and we took some of those symbols with us, and we had a variety of nationalities in the room. And there's a man from Tunisia came forward. He said, I know what that means. He said, I've seen that before in my country. So it was on the wall, in stone. He started interpreting it for us. So that it's not just here. There's symbols all over the planet. And that's where we all kind of tie in to each other's teachings. Okay. Here's another one. This one's one that's, you kind of saw some of that this morning. The young lady got a name. That's step number one to becoming a woman, is to get your name. But there's a whole ceremony that we have at home where when the girls start turning 11, 12, 13 years old and they start having their first moon cycle, we have a camp. All the grandmas, the moms, the sisters, aunties, cousins, all the women, relatives, they get together, put up teepees, and they stay there for that whole week. And they teach the young girls about the teachings of becoming a woman, what all goes with that, her responsibilities and her spirituality, her emotions, her mental mindset, and her body, and how all of that works, and how she fits into the family setting, the relationship setting, the community setting, the tribal setting, and for all the planet, for all the world. That power that they have is beyond anything us men can experience. That's how reverent it is. Very reverent. And everybody, as men, what we do is we go out, we feed them. We go out, we'll harvest the buffalo, bring in the meat, take care of them, bring the wood for them and all that. They take care of them so that they can continue on with their teachings in that camp. And that goes on for 7 days. Rush through here a little bit. Okay. The fifth one is right after that. We call it hunkapi, but what it means is making of relatives. And that can be two people. It starts with two people. Say man, woman get married, or and then my wife's family and my family. What we do is we become one big family. We get to know each other and work together with things and support each other, things like that. If it's ceremonial, if it's physical, if somebody needs food, or whatever it is, stand behind them emotionally, support, that type of stuff. So that's the making of relatives. And it's also it includes if you lose, say, one of your relatives crosses over, and you kind of have this broken heart, but all of a sudden somebody comes and they remind you of the one that you just lost, that crossed over before you. You're missing them. When this person kind of comes and fills that void, so what you do is you adopt them. Say, hey, I just lost my brother. So you're like my brother. And so you adopt them. And so the making of relatives, what you do is you're never without family. That's why in these conferences you always hear everybody say, that's my brother, that's my sister, because everybody's adopting each other. I had a young lady over in Hawaii who lost her father, and she adopted my father, and so she inherited whole family, you know. So now, you know, she was over here. We had a conference in Sedona, and they put us all up, the whole conference, all the people. There was, I don't know how many, 32 carloads of people after the conference. Nobody wanted to go home, so we all went to their place, and man, I tell you what, they had a whole school. It was a school building with all the classrooms, and it was empty. They turned it into a motel. Everybody, and then we had happened to be right on Thanksgiving Day, so we all had a big dinner. Everybody took the turkeys. We had chandeliers, and we had a powwow in there. We had the drum, you know. We had a good time, and that's what that was all about. Everybody was adopting each other. So those kinds of things we need to remember, and there's also symbols and things that go with them. Here's where we, after this, you know, we need to remember the children. And this one is, there's a ceremony we have, it's called throwing of the ball. And we still do this one at home with the youth. We go into the gymnasium with everybody in the whole school, and they do this ceremony where they circle up, and there's one young lady who has this ball that's all buffalo leather wrapped up tight. And what she does is she'll pray, she'll turn, she'll close her eyes, and she'll face the directions. They sing for her because she represents Mother Earth. What happens after the song is over, whichever direction or wherever she stops, you know, she'll throw the ball backwards, and somebody will catch it. Somebody will catch it, and that person is kind of representative of all of humanity and Mother Earth. And so that young person that catches it is revered to be holy, to be sacred, and they're taken care of all year. If any of their needs, people provide them. The families will, you know, give them, you need clothes, you need something, you need food, you need, you know, whatever the needs are. They'll help them with that because they represent all of humanity and Mother Earth. So that one is still alive and well. And for every one of these, there's songs, there's a whole sequence of songs that go with every one of them. And we have all of those songs. They're 100% intact. The teachings are there, the people are there. This is the most difficult of all of them. The keeping of the soul. That one is, we have families that try to do that, but there's so many disciplines that go with that because you have to stay in your spirit mind all year long. You know, and nowadays that's difficult to do with all the influences around you, because when you're in 3D, that's you know, you can't be walking around with a cell phone. You know, all electronics. You got to be without electronics. You got to go back to nature. You have to live close to nature. You got to stay close to ceremony. Stay close to sweat lodge. All of these ceremonies, you got to continually practice them, and to really think positive continually, 100% of the time. Nowadays, that's hard to do. That's why a lot, you know, it's kind of, this one is kind of fading, but what families do at home is they divide up the responsibilities amongst every family member, so not one person carries it. So that kind of makes it easier. But at the same time, the sweat lodge, this is what White Buffalo Calf Woman did when she came. She drew a circle representing the sweat lodge. She drew another one representing Hambrecha, crying for vision. And she explained to us the Sundance, all of the teachings, the songs, the procedures, protocol, everything. And then becoming a woman, she did that one. and then the making of relatives. And she did this as she's drawing these circles on the earth. And then the throwing of the ball. Talks about all of that and how this is represented and the keeping of the soul. And when she got done drawing all that, see, it looks like the first circle is closer to you because it's larger. She did this to represent the universe. Represent the universe. So you start with purification, which is the first thing closest to you. And as you go through these, the crying for the vision, Sundance, becoming a woman, throwing of the ball, keeping of the soul, the hunkapi in there. But when you think about it, it's the closest thing, and this is the earthly part, the 3D part, a lot of these. But at the same time, we're trying to stay in the 4, 5, 6, 7D, in those dimensions. So when you, at the same time, it's also reversed if you go clockwise. So at the same time, we're starting with the soul, and we're coming into the physical. So guess what? We get to keep our soul when we come into this world. See that? We get to keep our soul, and then as we're coming, as we're living life here on Mother Earth, we get to become purified where we're at today. So this is how it is, and like all the symbols that they talk about, they don't get activated until you put that circle around them. And so what we did with all of these ceremonies, we activate them, or she taught us to activate them by circling all of them, representing the universe and all of creation. And the circle also represents Creator.
Can you talk a little bit more about the keeping of the soul? Like, is it someone else's that has passed, or is it your soul?
It's a bundle, is what it is. Keeping of the soul is a bundle where you take the hair of the person and you put sage, cedar, sweetgrass, bitterroot, and chanshasha, tobacco, which is a natural tobacco, red willow. You put them in there, you pray with it, and that hair, like it says, the DNA of your spirituality, your spiritual memory. So that one little strand of hair holds everything of their soul, and it'll keep them here on the earth. And usually that soul will get angry because they want to go on, So that's why those disciplines are so important, because you got to stay in that spirit mind, that spirit place, in order to handle all of that. Because she's gonna, whoever that person is, they're gonna be okay for a while, but after a while they're gonna want to move on. They don't like wandering around, being stuck here and not being able to do what we do. They can't eat food or anything like that. They can't drink the water. But they're between the worlds is what it is. So the keeping of the soul is a bundle. And we encourage everybody, don't do that unless you're ready. You have to almost be like a Buddhist monk. That's how much discipline it takes to do that. Any other questions? Mike is here, so that's a sign.
Sure sign.
Yeah.
What do you guys talking about?
Oh,
You?
talking about you.
You're awesome, Jack.
Okay, I'm gonna like everybody to stand. I guess we're gonna end our session here. And like every ceremony, you have, first of all, you call in, we did with the song, to ask for this influence from the heavens and through the eagle nations. So when you call them in, you also have to tell them why you call them. Why am I here? And the third part is where the action comes in, where you have to ask them to do something, move people, align them, attune them, get them ready for their work. That's the action part. And the last and fourth part of any ceremony is to say thank you and send them home. Otherwise, they'd be stuck. Yeah. Wakantaka tunkashina pida maya yelo hayaya hayay chanupa wakancha mayam kuelo hayaya hayay pida maya yelo hayaya hayay Wichozani wa mayam kuelo pida maya ye Pida maya yelo hayaya heyo. Pidama midake oyasi. Thanks for coming and having interest in some of these teachings that we have, and I hope you can leave from here to apply it out there. That's what needs to be out there. Oh, thank you.